Good afternoon. My name is Jerome Deering Bay, and I'm here with Robin Hayes of A Mother's Cry in conjunction with Reform Crime Sentencing, rcsnow.org, and Image for Lives, as well as Rich Moines Productions. And in conjunction with these groups and organizations and grassroots programs, we want to talk about a problem that has been plaguing our communities for hundreds of years. And that problem is why has our representatives not addressed the issue of retroactivity as it applies to a law or a statute or a code that indiscriminately treats a certain suspect group of offender differently than another suspect group of offender. And basically what I'm talking about, we've talked about previously, and we want to reiterate that point, is first-degree murder and willful injury, and how it applies to a different suspect group, but doesn't apply to every individual who has been sentenced and punished under those particular statutes. And in reference to the previous comment I just made, I want to reference State of Iowa versus Hemster, where he was vindicated for first-degree murder and got the willful injury conviction and was subsequently released from prison and is enjoying his life. We have a lot of minority defendants here in the state of Iowa that are suffering under that particular disparity, and we want to keep this out front. Robin Hayes of A Mother's Cry has been to the Capitol, has talked to certain legislators and representatives down there about this particular issue, and unfortunately, based upon the conversations, they haven't gotten back to her with any feedback on why there has been an impediment in the process of trying to remedy the disparity that is derived from that particular issue. Now, Robert Hayes has a son who's in state prison serving a first-degree murder charge and willful injury. And so her son, James Hayes, falls under the same criteria and elements that Mr. Hemster and those before Mr. Hemster fell under, and who got relief based upon that. Now, based upon a newspaper report, the Iowa Supreme Court and others of the appellate courts, as far as the state of Iowa is concerned, and the district court, as far as the state of Iowa is concerned, has declined to make the application of that rule of law retroactive, so individuals who are suffering first-degree murder charges and willful injury charges can petition the court to see if, in fact, they qualify for the same standard that was applied to Mr. Hemster and those who preceded him, who were able to utilize that case to eventually get rid of the first-degree murder charge and be convicted and punished under a lesser included offense, which is willful injury, which results in a lot less time than first-degree murder. The first-degree murder in Iowa is a life sentence. Willful injury, if memory serves me correct, and I could be wrong on this, so don't hold my feet to bear, is 10 years. So our concern is that we want to see equality, justice, and fairness within the process. So Ms. Hayes has been to the Capitol and has petitioned certain legislators and representatives to look into this. And unfortunately, they haven't got back with her today, even though they said they would. And so our only recourse in our attempt to remedy this is to implement a voice that will hopefully stir someone at the Capitol to take a look at it and see if in fact, when the Hemster decision came down, that it should have been made retroactive. Now, the Des Moines Register, if I'm not mistaken, has done an extensive article on that particular issue, and they cited why the Supreme Court of Iowa didn't make that issue retroactive. So individuals that were serving, you got individuals that are serving over 25 years on this dual code, and you got concerned mothers out here that are concerned about their sons, that who have done over a quarter of a century in prison, based upon the same offense that other individuals similarly situated to them are not suffering under. And so, it's an issue that needs to be adequately addressed. We've got an election year coming up, and a lot of representatives have come to the state of Iowa, and we have attended some of the Republican rallies, and these are some of the questions that we have posed to those hopefuls that seek the highest office in the land on whether or not they have the wherewithal to look into this disparity and hopefully gain some traction in addressing it. Now, my question to Ms. Hayes would be, based upon your son and the amount of time he has served in prison for this particular conviction and the extensive conversations that we have had related to this issue, the question that you keep posing to me is, your son was never directly tied to any physical evidence as far as a firearm, a knife, or any other weapon that was used in this particular case. That and you want to know why he can be convicted of first-degree murder, and he was never connected to any weapon that places him at the scene of the crime. And you can speak to that, and I would urge you to do so at this particular point in time.
Hi, my name is Robin Hayes, and I'm the mother of James Hayes, owner and operator of Mother's Cry. My mother's cry is to bring my son home. There's a lot of issues that I had read in his transcripts that I just can't, put my finger on as to why or how, did they convict my son of a first degree murder and willfully injury. And I'm not no scientist or no attorney, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist just to read some paperwork to see that there's flaws in my son's paperwork. And I know a mother knows her child. And what stuck out to me was there was no murder weapon. And they can't tie my son to no murder weapon. And I, constantly, beat myself up about, what is it that I can do? How can I, help my son, you know what I'm saying? With, trying to get out of prison. He's been locked up for 24 years. And each time I read this case, it just makes me sick to my stomach. It was like the courts, just threw my son, he was another nigga that they threw in behind the bars of the facilities in Fort Dodge Correctional Facility, just like the rest of them that are in there wrongfully accused, because my son did not commit no murder. He may have been there, but he didn't put his hands on the guy, Brent Gibson. My problems that I've been having with the people that I've actually been to is, just to help, because, I'm a mother out here that, is trying to get some help, some relief for her son. And, places that I've been to, I just have been unsuccessful. Hopefully I, might have hit a good person to be able to share, my thoughts and, get something going for my son this year, hopefully. I plan to. It's been year after year. He's been locked up for 24 years, and I was incarcerated myself for 10. So ever since I've been out, it's been a nonstop procedure with me trying to figure out the who, the how, the why, and as far as people to go to reach out to try to help me, I'm saying, to hear my cry. I just can't stress it enough that the lawyers' offices that I've been in, numbers of attorneys' offices that I've been to, went and got copies of his transcripts and took it to him and just asked him to just read it, And I mean, it's like the lawyers are even scared of the state of Iowa, I mean, it's like there's nothing that they can do. You know what I'm saying? It's like how? Just tell me. I'm not understanding that concept. But what I am going to do is take a paralegal course myself. I'm in the process of doing that now. I'm just trying to figure out the best school for me to be able to do it because I'm coming after my son. Trust me.
Well, let me interject right there, Rob. Now, Robin touched on a lot of critical points as it relates to the law, the process of the law, and how it's applied. And what we try to do through Image for Life, Rich Warrior Productions, A Mother's Cry, and RCSNow.org is we try to educate. And the problem that we have as a nationality of people is that we will get involved in criminal conduct without really fully understanding the consequences as is applied by law. Now, what Robin spoke to as far as lawyers and representatives and other organizations that deal with these type of issues is that there's a system in place. And that system is designed by the court rules. And so that means a prosecutor or a state attorney or a defense attorney has to apply themselves in accordance with the court rules. And as a people, due to the lack of education, because it's not something that's taught in school, it's taught in college if you decide you want to be a lawyer, and it's taught through paralegal courses. You begin to understand the system of court rules. So everybody has to apply by that. So unfortunately for a lot of defendants who go to trial or plead guilty, they don't have any understanding of court rules and how the attorney is required to conduct themselves based upon those particular rules. Then you have procedures that are in effect that the attorneys have to implement as they go forward through charging, arrest, trial, guilty plea, sentencing, appeal, post-conviction, and then Supreme Court. And so with those procedures intact, if you fail to meet any of those requirements and criteria, then your chances, despite your guilt or innocence, is diminished greatly. And as Robin alluded to, she stated that her son has been in prison for 24 years. So she and him run into a difficult issue because now they need to be able to open up the doors of the procedure so they can access the process in order to get consideration as to whether or not Mr. Hayes should, in fact, benefit from the same benefit that those who were similarly situated to him benefited from. And so that's what our cry is. Our cry is to get some consideration, also justice, fairness, equality throughout the process. And in my interaction with Ms. Hayes, she has brought forth some great I'm trying to get an appropriate word in tandem. I'm lost for a word right here, but she has brought forth some great maneuvers that we need to put in place in order to get some attention to the issue that we're speaking on today. Yet and still, we had a podcast a couple weeks ago with Mr. Miles, who was exonerated out of the state of Illinois. And he come down and was on Image for Lives, and he talked about what he went through during 28 years of his imprisonment, and he was not guilty, but it took him 28 years to get up out of that. So Well, I said that to say this. We need to start having some rallies. We need to start talking to more legislators. We need to be talking to more presidential candidates that are running for office next year, so that we can find out what their position are on the aspect of equality within the criminal justice system. I mean, you know, come on. People that fly around in jets and things like that, they don't even have to show up at a court hearing. But a defendant who comes from poverty, they're put in jail. They have no finances. They're given a court-appointed attorney, and 9 times out of 10, they don't understand their constitutional rights. And so the system just rolls over there. And our purpose, despite a mother's cry's intent to bring some justice to her son, is also to educate our people. Because we don't see our young men or our young women out there committing criminal offenses, and they have no clue of the consequences of that conduct. And it can be a long process. And what I mean by a long process, I mean, you know, the individuals out here that, you know, are engaged in that type of activity today don't have a clue about that long process. They don't have a clue about being in prison for 20 years or better, and how much that affects an individual's life. So I would hope that a mother's cry can reach somebody not only in the state of Iowa, but around the United States, and bring some clarity to her, to her son, and any other person who has loved ones in prison suffering the same dual offenses, an opportunity to get some consideration for equality within the criminal justice system. And I think that's only fair. You know, Donald Trump and all those who will follow him, they're always speaking about the Constitution. Well, you know, we all have constitutional rights. You know, we were born and bred here in America, but the system of equality has always been unfair when it is treated to the people who can't fly around in a jet, can't buy a multi-million-dollar attorney, and is subject to have his case presented by an attorney who is court-appointed. I mean, they just can't focus on a case where they're court-appointed and they're not being compensated for the time and energy and resources that is needed to put forth a good case. And that's just the way our system is. So we appeal to the public. We appeal to those organizations to hopefully take this matter up and address this concern, because we're concerned about it. We're bringing this concern to the candidates that are currently running for office in hopes that you know, they'll make this part of their campaign platform. And that includes the current president of the United States today, you know, President Biden. You know, if he happens to get reelected, we would hope that, you know, as part of his campaign, he would take a look at it. Governor Reynolds, we would hope that she would get involved and, you know, just look at it to see, you know, why, in fact, when a law is applied to similarly situated individuals, it's not applied to everybody who's similarly situated to them. It just doesn't make no sense. And you know, as Robin said, there was no evidence that tied her son to any weapon, and based upon her dialogue, she stated that he might have been there. I don't know. I can't speak to that, because I wasn't there. But with that being said, I understand the law, and the law, unfortunately, if you happen to be there, you know, they can tie you to murder one and willful injury. But if in fact you didn't actually commit the murder, and there was no weapon in your possession, then the lesser included offense should have been tied to those individuals who didn't actually commit the crime as charged. The lesser included offense should have been included, and that should have been the punishment based upon the fact, okay, they was there, but you know, how you gonna say what his intent was? How can you say what her intent was? if in fact they didn't actually commit the crime. You know, I mean, and so I feel that from her perspective, because intent makes a big difference. What you intended to do, and that definition is broad from a criminal point of view, and from a legal point of view, and we'd hope that people who are better and more adequate than I am would take a look at that and reach out to Robin Hayes at A Mother's Cry, or rcsnow.org, or Image for Lives, or Rich Wayne Production, and provide some feedback or some assistance so that we can, you know, hopefully resolve an issue that plagues our community. That results in a lot of minority defendants getting locked up for the rest of their lives for offenses that they may not be actually culpable of. And with that being said, I'll ask Robin if she has anything else to say as it relates to what I just expounded on.
I just would like to say that if anybody is out there listening or, you know, looking at this video, that, and if you know somebody that knows somebody, to reach out and try to either, you know, get with me. I can be reached at area code 641-781-1492, or you can get me on my A Mother's Cry page at gmail.com. Again, A Mother's Cry at gmail.com. And my phone number is 641-781-1492. Please send me something or somebody, or I know people know people in high places, to even just look at the video, you know what I'm saying, to hear the cry of me, my son, you know what I mean? It's like, I need some help, and I need somebody to hear what I'm saying, because I'm just not understanding the law, period, you know, as far as how they can lock somebody up without a weapon. Even if they was there, doesn't mean that, like he said, Jerome was explaining the intent. He didn't do it. And with that being said, you guys have a nice day. Please reach out, hear my cry, A Mother's Cry. Thank you.
Thank you, and have a good evening, a good weekend.